Welcome back, artists. In this video, I'm going to do a painting of this mule deer doe. I took this picture of her a couple days ago. It was really hot weather. You can see she's laying down in the shadow here in the shade of this to catch some relief from the heat. I photographed her at the Turnbull National Wildlife Refuge, which is south of Cheney, Washington, in eastern Washington. I support that organization, and I like to go out and look at the animals that are out there. So without further ado, I'm going to take a look at the little bit of, in terms of composition, I like the way she's laying down here, looking right at me at the camera. I might just put more of a stream bed or maybe the edge of a lake or something like that a little bit. But we'll figure that out as we go along here. So without further ado, I'm going to start. I'll set the reference photograph off the camera here and get this drawn for her. The first thing I'm going to do is pencil sketch in her body here. Okay, there's my very light pencil sketch showing the basic doe as she's sitting down on the grass, ears and face. I've got her sketched out there the way I like her. Now I'm going to go over my pencil sketch with my zebra blue ink pen. You can tell it's a fountain pen. I really like these zebra pens. Blue ink is probably my favorite too. This is a water-soluble ink. Whenever you're doing line and wash work, the one critical thing you need to know is what are the characteristics of your ink. Specifically, is it waterproof or is it water soluble? Either one is fine, just as long as you know what it is so that you can plan ahead for your artwork. This is water soluble, so it means it will run a little bit when I put a wet brush on it later on. But I think that adds to some of the interest and makes the painting a little more exciting and enjoyable. Deer actually have a very simple body shape. It's very square. She's laying down here, so I'll set her down in the grass with her legs folded under her. Add a little bit of cross-hatching to help show the 3 dimension. All right, let's finish her face here. Now, mule deer have this dark triangular patch on their forehead, unlike white. All right, there's my basic sketch. I'm going to put in and then a little bit of shadow work here to place her on the ground. Okay, well, that's pretty good. Just some kind of basic sketches, a few points there. I have another tree over here. These are just very quick trees to help give some context for my deer here, my subject matter. Okay, now I'm going to erase my pencil lines. You don't necessarily have to do this. I'm kind of in the habit of doing it. I think it makes the piece a little bit brighter, which I like. So I will erase my pencil lines. Okay, wonderful. Now we're done with the line work. It's time to do the wash work. Here's my watercolor paints that I typically use. I have just a limited palette. To help me a little bit, I'm going to use this watercolor graphite. I absolutely love watercolor graphite. I use it as an intermediate stage here to establish my relative light and darks that I need in every piece to make the painting look 3-dimensional. Now, it's important to realize one of the first rule of any type of visual art, painting and drawing, is realizing where your source of light is. Typically, that's the sun, which is what it is in this case. For a left-hander like me, unless I put the source of light right in the painting itself, by default, it's off the page at 10 o'clock. For a right-hander, it would be off the page at 2 o'clock. But as you can see, since I'm left-handed, going to be off the page at 10 o'clock. And then this, along with my watercolor graphite, adds a little bit of extra interest. Now, the main thing here when I'm using my watercolor graphite is I'm just catching the dark areas. Mule deer have a darker body than white-tailed deer. Since she's sitting in the shade of a tree here, a little bit here on her ears. Mule deer get their name because they have great big ears, like a mule does. Now, that is, I need to be careful here doing the likewise her nose. Add a little more darkness here and there. Don't sit her down on the ground. Right now, a little bit of shadow. Again, my source of light is off the page at 10 o'clock, so the shadow corresponding would be coming down off the page or towards the lower right-hand portion of the paper here. Now I am going to have a bunch of grass here, so I'm going to cut through this with, I think I'll have her sitting on the edge of a stream bed here. I'm going to do this as a vignette, as a French style of painting that is just a very minimalist piece. Very often there are open areas, typically the corners that are left open and unpainted. I want a diagonal format. I think it strengthens the piece to anchor the piece to opposite corners. Either go upper left to lower right. So we give, okay, there's a very simple basic design. I like that. That's got everything drawn together. I can see the full context of my piece. and I've left open areas for light colors. All right, let's get going with the watercolor paints now. In watercolor, we traditionally paint from light to dark, and as I mentioned, when I discovered this watercolor graphite, my artwork really took a big leap forward. Adding this extra step where I do a non-traditional step of having this interim step where I put the watercolor graphite down first before I put the watercolors on, and I concentrate just on where the lights and darks are. It makes my paintings much easier because now I can have fun with the watercolors, and I've already established my lights, and it's real easy now to come back in with my watercolors and capture the piece and just have fun with color, which is what I really like to Mule deer. It's more brownish. And this is Van Dyke brown that I'm putting on, which is a beautiful, rich brown. Right, and add a little bit of blue here. This is cerulean blue, just for some highlights. And what I'm doing is I'm thinking ahead. I'm going to have a nice, bright blue sky. So I'm going to use some highlights on the dough. And the yellow and blue combination is always a good, strong, impactful color combination. All right, so now let's put in some of the grasses here. This is just good old raw sienna, beautiful yellowish color. Put in some green trees in the background here. That's the sap green. Just help sort of block them in here. They're off in the distance, so I just want them to be the suggestion of trees in the distance. Add a little bit of blue in here to darken it down, the shadow side of these trees. And then one thing I think I will also do is I'll scrape a little bit. There we go. Now when you do scraping like I just did there, you have to get your timing right. The key thing is it's got to be about half wet, half dry. If you get it right, like I did here, line, if it's too dry, you won't get to be able to scrape it at all. Now, one of the things I also like to do with greens on shadows is add red as a complement to green. Now, just a little bit goes a long way. Complementary colors have a unique relationship between themselves. When you sit them next to one another, they make each other stronger. When you mix them, they go to a neutral color. I just want a little hint of red in here, a little bit. This just added interest down here. Scrape through a little bit more. Okay, now we've got pretty much our trees and horizon line down there. Let's work on this lower right corner here. I envision there'll be a bit of a mud bank, and this will be the edge of a creek that's going by that this doe is sitting next to. So I just need a dark color here for edge of my creek. The grasses would tend to stay green there, so put the source of water nearby. All right, so this is the blue that's right under the edge of this muddy area of the creek. I can add a little red here too, just to hint a little bit of it. Okay, let's do our sky. Again, this is cerulean blue. I very often put cerulean blue and cobalt blue together. I think they make a beautiful sky combination color. And then since I did it before, I'll do it again up here to add a little bit of extra impressions that there's grasses here. I'm going to take my 1/4-inch sword dagger brush, which as you can see is a brush that is in which the bristles are cut at an angle here. I like this because it has an extra degree of randomness to it when you do lines here like this. A little bit of extra added interest. And then again, since up here where the doe is, sometimes this calligraphy can get overdone. But it goes along with a little bit of ripples in my water here. Okay, I like that. That's nice, bright and vibrant. I like the way my doe is sitting on the ground. I got to sit with the shadow here. I think it reads properly. I like my sky. I like the trees in the background. Let's compare her against the original photograph. There she is sitting here, looking at us with her ears perked up towards us. Again, I changed the basic layout of it, the background for her and foreground. Put in this crick on the lower right corner. Put my diagonal horizontal, or my diagonal horizon line. I have my in here looking at us here. All right, I like that. I'll let that dry, and then I'll post it online to share with our friends. Thank you very much, everyone. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, or if you'd like to see anything, we paint something new and different, please say so in the comments below. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye. We'll see you the next time.